What's up, y'all? I'm back with another one. In this vid, I'm gonna be covering One Piece chapter 1107 spoilers that dropped. I'm still covering every chapter up till this point, but when YouTube shove a content cake in your face, I say might as well eat it. So in the last chapter, we saw the legendary giant crew had arrived at Egghead, already raising hell, all in the name of the sun god. In this chapter, we find out that with them, Ormo and Kasha arrive, and we already know that's Usopp Road Dogs from Annie's lobby. He really bonded with them. I thought it was Dragon. I hoped it was Dragon, low key. Just so we could get that father-son moment that we just been yearning for to see how they would react to each other. But the first one to notice the Giant's arrival is Usopp though, who is surprised to see him. The next spoilers say Jinbei is still on the way to stop the fight between Zoro and Rob Lucci. Basically, Jinbei being the crew dad again, going to find Zoro, making sure he don't get lost, being his tour guide, which is a surprise because we seen on 1105 that Lamy told him to go do that. So I guess I'm wondering how to fight. But anyway, in the next spoiler we get, Luffy asks Bonnie why she's crying. And Bonnie says, because she's been looking for him, well, Nika, for a long time. And Luffy replies, why? I've been near you all the time. LMAO. That line is so funny to me because it's perfect. And I don't think Luffy realizes the significance of what he is, like his devil fruit. He's literally a god come back 800 years from the past and is expected to liberate the whole world. And we know, like, he has a god complex. He doesn't view himself as a hero despite his many heroic actions. He does not want to be viewed as a hero. He doesn't want to be seen as a hero. So it's going to be funny dynamic in the next arc. Are we going to be in for him, like, being worshipped? Because Luffy real life has a religion. I think Kuma was praying to this man for years, like, to come save him. And many slaves in Mizuwa, however you say it, is doing it as we speak. But in the next spoiler, we see Luffy goes on to tell Bonnie that he saw her earlier attack and it was weak. Then he told her that I will show you what a real attack looks like. And we finally get the moment we all been waiting for. Luffy finally turns his attention to that demonic, erratic, unleashes a new attack, Dawn Gatling, which is basically like a Gatling, but in Gear 5, and which is cool because we get to see him use Gear 5. It's cool whipping out Gear 5 moves from his new repertoire. Even though, of course, we know that's not going to work. It's going to be far from enough to deal with. This is in-game villains we deal with, final bosses. Until we see him throw the entire kitchen sink, I don't expect anything close to death. Okay, we get into the next spoiler, and this one, it kind of irks me. It says Kizaru comes to kill Bonnie and Vegapunk. And it's like, okay, bro, you really committed. Like, you just threw Disney out the window. Just gonna go all the way through with it. Like, you just killing kids for devils now. At this point, I don't think Kizaru's thoughts could be salvaged. Just honestly think we finally reached the point of no return with him. And it's like, it's almost kind of like solidified now. There's no way Kizaru's surviving the end game of One Piece. Like, because the end game, you really we think the Navy is going to survive and it's going to be a reformed sect of the Navy. But it's going to have Navy soldiers who are reformable. But at this point, there's no way we can salvage Kizaru's character or him as a person. Because you just going going to hell with the Gorosei. You just want to be their puppet to the end of time. Honestly, must say it is a surprise. I never expected this. I never expected him to be so far down the government rabbit hole. We can never snake him out. I wanted Kizaru to be saved. Now that he just showed that he's so committed, like he just got Sea Prism Stone handcuffs wrapped around his back, he just has to rest next to Akihino by the end of the series. He has to rest in peace. Be remiss if I ain't mention his pending pack, but back to the spoilers. It's also mentioned how when he went in for the attack against Bonnie and Vegapunk, he was stopped by none other than Sanji. And I'm glad it was you, because after 1106, your stocks was plummeting next to Kizaru. Paying him more than anyone. He has to prove himself. Out of anyone in the monster trio, he has to prove it. Because, like, after he missed Roof Peace, I don't think I will ever forgive him. I just don't, no way in God's green earth I could ever put him on a level of Zoro. Like, the attack Zoro tanked up there we have to equate to nuclear warheads. The things he suffered through on that roof, Sanji wouldn't survive on his best day. Like that attack, Conquest of the Sea, that literally, like I seen someone comment, that's an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. When you take that into account, the fact that his second in command is doing things like that, it wouldn't be too much to ask for the third in command, Sanji, to at least be able to attack a Kizaru attack. That's nothing more than like at least 10 grenades. You went through that pre-time skip. Back to the spoilers, and we kind of getting to the end of them now. But this one says that we see Saturn getting up from Luffy's attack, Don Gallon. And when it's mentioned that when he gets up, he actually spots the Blackbeard pirates, who we seen has been like on the coast of Egghead for a while now. And it's mentioned that it was actually Van Auger and Katarina Devon who was on the ship. And as Saturn's looking at them, we actually pan to the Blackbeard pirates and he's listening to their conversation. And it seems they're conversing about Teach's goals and also his special lineage, which also it seems that Saturn is aware of too for some reason. That in itself raises a few questions because it seems that Saturn's just knowledgeable about all things in this world somehow for some way. And it was always said that they stayed in Muijua. But Saturn, he's like he walking around with info cards, like he has some fourth dimensional powers where he know everything we know. Is it part of his God fruit? I don't know, but it seemed like he just got spies out the yin yang. Cause everything that's to be known in the One Piece, he knows it. It's like at this point, is he just a One Piece encyclopedia? We could just grasp at the shortest straw and say, okay, he's immortal. That's the reason he knows everything. He's been around since the Void Century, so he's knowledgeable about all things in the One Piece world. I just ain't wanted to be that though. Back to the spoiler, it actually left us with a piece of important information because it seems like we're finally getting hints or like questions answered about what Blackbeard is, what's so special about him, what's his goals, what's his powers. And there's been many theories and questions over the years, but it always seems like as the years go by, questions get asked rather than answered. Like we haven't gotten a definitive answer to what it is he is or he's trying to accomplish. But we've given a hint here where it says that he's part of a special lineage. And like I said, all that did was kind of raise questions rather than answer anything because, you know, we already kind of speculated there's a lot of things special about Blackbeard. There's a lot of things he can do. And only he can do. He could just consume 2 devil fruits. He literally goes his entire life without possibly sleeping. That's what we learned from the Odin flashback. He went 3 days and 3 nights without getting a wing. So whether that means he runs on batteries or what it is, I don't know. Kind of hoping it has something to do with the ancient power source, that his race is kind of linked to that in some way, for that way we could explore his lore. Like if we get more Blackbeard lore, where is his race? Why does no one else look like him? He looked like an average pirate, just like Bummy. All right, man, but let's continue to the last part of the spoilers. It actually said that once Saturn landed and spotted the Blackbeard pirates, he actually went in for an attack. But because Van Auger, you know, has the warp fruit, he instantly, once he peeped that he was going to get smoked by Gorosei, he warped to the other side of the island after stating that they completed their mission. As this is the last, almost to the last end of the spoilers, I'm going to go ahead and mention what their mission was. Their mission seems to be that Katarina Devon will use her devil fruit power to copy Saturn's appearance, or she will be able to take on the form of Saturn or transform into him. Okay, that's important because once again, I think it solidifies Blackbeard as truly being one of the best strategic geniuses of all of One Piece. Like, the fact that it seems like he's always one step ahead, always planning out chess moves and even coming up with countermeasures in case the said moves don't work. It's like the moment the war of the best concluded, so did phase 1 of his plan did. Like, it wasn't over. Like, he had a step 2. Like, I love the fact that he ain't just, all right, tier 1, get power enough to conquer the world, then just rest on his laurels. He's like, no, boom, second plan. We're finna conquer the world. We're finna go proceed with this. I'm just not playing. I really want this world in my hands. He on some Rocks D. Sebek. He may be his cousin for real, his uncle, his nephew. We in for a big surprise when we find out what his lineage is. I just hope he related to Rocks for some way and he just not a meat rider. Let's pray. Like, I will lose all like respect if they find out he's just a fanboy who just picked up the sword and called this ship the Sword of Zebek because he was really just a fan. But that's it. We get into the last part of the spoilers, where it's actually mentioned that Caribou, he finally makes his appearance. And we actually find out who's the person who he's been like trying to work for. Cause it's kind of revealed that he's not even acquainted with Blackbeard at all. I always thought that the secret like person who he was working for, he was acquainted with. But it also seemed that, okay, he was trying to bring them enough information for he could get like anointed into their crew, but now we know it's Blackbeard. So all the information Caribou privy to is from the land right in the hands of Blackbeard. And was kind of wondering what Oda was gonna do with this Caribou thing, because it's always seemed like a backdoor important plot point. The fact that he's aware of world destructive nuclear type weapons. He know of like the ancient weapons, and he's been mentioning how he's been waiting to hand this off to someone of power of noteworthy to be anointed, to be ingratiated with them. So we finally learn this Blackbeard. That in itself poses its own problems. I mean, at the end game of One Piece, we know by the end that Blackbeard may most likely not accomplish any of his goals because our protagonist stands in his way. But the fact that he's will be made aware of these ancient weapons, there's no way Oda's going to throw that out there. And it's not going to be like come to fruition or be important in the future of the story. And one thing I do want to mention about that is the fact that we know Luffy has little to no interest in any of them. And the problem that arises is the fact that we know Blackbeard loves power. So it's going to get to a point where he's going to go and track down them weapons. And once he retrieves them, he's going to get to a point where he's going to use them. And they're going to bring some damage. I think some cast members are going to die. And it most likely won't amount to anything as far as Blackbeard plan. But I just feel like, Blackbeard plan for keeps. And it's going to be most likely end up him being the final villain that we face at the end of the story, not the world government. Because it seems that he's going to amass even more power than them by the end of this. And his next targets are most likely going to be either Wano or Fishman Island, because that is the key to the information that Caribou holds. He knows the location of the two ancient weapons. But that's it for this video, man. Y'all tell me if y'all like it. There's no break next week. Tell me if y'all want me to cover every chapter up to this point. I've covered chapter 1061. Do y'all want me to cover every One Piece Egghead chapter until then? Or y'all let me know if y'all want to cover any other series, or do y'all like the video? Comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, man. Y'all let me know if y'all like it, and should I keep it going? Peace.